So we're going to start off WrestleMania with a WrestleMania guest host. And it is none other than the megastar, L.A. Knight. Yeah! L.A. Knight does not have a match at WrestleMania, but he will be hosting, along with having his Money in the Bank briefcase, which he won last year. And he teases cashing it in throughout the night, which we start off WrestleMania with a World Heavyweight Championship match, with the challenger being your Royal Rumble winner in where my dogs at? Rough Riders. Braun Breaker. Your Royal Rumble winner for 2026 is going to be Braun Breaker, and he's going to, of course, go against the Visionary, the Illuminary. I don't be paying attention to what Seth be talking about half the time. Your World Heavyweight Champion with Paul Heyman, Seth freaking Rollins. Triple H loves to redo stories in a different way, so this will be Evolution 2.0. I think the faction probably what we call like Revolution. Seth has been telling the folks, the people, the fans, everyone that will listen that Braun is the future. But Braun will find out, just like Batista found out with Triple H, it's not about Braun being the future. It's about Braun being the protector for Seth Rollins to keep his title. And eventually, by the end of the year to beginning of 2026, Braun Breaker will reach his breaking point and turn on Seth Rollins and decide to face him at WrestleMania for the world title. And I think he will leave WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans as your new World Heavyweight Champion. Next up, we have a Women's Intercontinental Championship match with your reigning, defending champion being Bayley. We're going to actually have her on the card this year. Hopefully, unless somebody else want to come in, Trish Stratus or somebody wants to come in and take her spot. But no, Bayley is going to be your reigning, defending champion, going up against Liv Morgan, Raquel, Io, Nia Jax, and Roxanne Perez. And not just any type of match, a 6-woman ladder match where these women get to do whatever. And again, I think it will be something that Bayley will want to do, as she's someone that is very goal driven and wants to do something new and innovative. There has never been a women's ladder match at WrestleMania. And in this match, I think the person that will leave champion, taking that belt off the ring, rung, however you call it, will be Roxanne Perez, as they clearly have a lot of high stakes and interest in Roxanne Perez being your next big star in the women's division. Next, keeping it on the IC title, we have your Intercontinental Championship match of Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. Drew and Sheamus have a storied history. They've conquered the world. They got brought up in the business together. They've done it all. Won world titles, all kind of championships. But the one championship Sheamus has still not gotten by 2026 is the Intercontinental Championship. And so we have this match for the first time. It's Drew versus Sheamus for the first time at WrestleMania 1-on-1. And I think Drew still leaves WrestleMania 42 as your Intercontinental Champion, with Sheamus still chasing that one final goal he has not achieved, which we probably will do at like Clash of the Castle when he retired there. Next, we have for the Women's Tag Team Championships, we have your reigning defending tag team champions of Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, no longer the Meta Girls. They are part of the Matriarchy, but they will be defending those tag titles versus Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. I think they need to do what AEW did with MJF. If you want to turn her babyface, show her trying to learn how to actually be friends and be a friend to someone. So she befriends Tiffany Stratton, and Tiffany is trying to show Charlotte how to truly be a girlfriend and a good person. And she wins those tag team titles with Tiffany Stratton and has created a real friendship with Tiffany. And now they will conquer the women's tag team division together. Next, we have a personal rivalry of Uso Yeet. Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, who teased at the Raw following WrestleMania that he could possibly turn on Jey for that world title, but throughout the entire year, he never does. He stays a loyal friend to Jey, never turns on him. Even when Jey loses the title, he remains good friends with him, but Sami makes it known that he has one goal, and that's to finally win the world title, leading up to the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, where it's a foregone conclusion that Sami Zayn is going to win, but who eliminates him but Jey Uso? And Sami Zayn takes it super personal, as just like Batista took it personal versus Rey Mysterio back in 2009, Sami feels the same way, as you're supposed to be my friend. You won the Rumble last year. You became world champion. Why couldn't you let me have this moment as a friend? And Jey is like, it's every man for himself. To justify the heel turn, have Sami defeat Jey Uso at WrestleMania. And in a semi-main event, we have the phenomenal AJ Styles going up against Gunther, the Ring General, as AJ Styles is in his Mick Foley bag, where he's chasing that one great match at WrestleMania that he feels like he never gotten to prove why he is truly phenomenal, even though a lot of people feel that his Shane McMahon match at 33 was really good, but we don't really want to make that AJ Styles' best match at WrestleMania, do we? So AJ's like, I don't have much time left in the ring, and I feel like I've never truly had that standout match at WrestleMania. And Gunther, who is like, stop with the sob stories, bro. Like, I ain't trying to hear all that, bro. Like, either you got it or you don't. Like, either you're going to be in the ring or you're not. Like, stop it with this whole, I need my WrestleMania moment. I don't worry about WrestleMania moments because I have moments wherever I go. And this is how you set Gunther versus AJ Styles up. But I think if he can have a great match with anybody at WrestleMania, Gunther has to be that guy. And I think AJ Styles can perform at that level again and show us why he's simply called phenomenal. Now, he ain't going to win the match, because why would he? But at least he'll get, I will think, at least a 4-star quality match from Gunther at WrestleMania, which is all AJ Styles wants. He doesn't care if he wins. Kind of like Shawn Michaels to an extent. I just want to steal the show. And I believe they can do that, and Gunther will defeat AJ Styles in a very great show-stealing match at WrestleMania. And in the main event of night one, we have your women's Royal Rumble winner in Rhea Bloody Ripley. Only the second woman to win 2 women Royal Rumbles, as she decides to face the leader of the matriarchy, that again includes Shakara Jackson and Lash Legend, who we now call Mother, in the EST, Bianca Belair. The fans will finally get what they want. Bianca Belair turns heel. I set this up all the way damn near a year prior, with Bianca winning Money in the Bank. Rhea, who finally defeats Io Sky, but then gets cashed on by Bianca Belair, setting up that year-long story of Rhea just cannot defeat Bianca, all to culminate here we finally get the one-on-one match we've been trying to book for 5 goddamn years of who is the true dominant female in the women's division. Is it Bianca Belair or is it Rhea Ripley? And we get the cocky heel NXT Bianca Belair, which a lot of people have been waiting for. And again, I just like the idea of calling her mother. Like, you have mother and you have mommy. I don't know how I came up with that, but I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that. Mother versus mommy. Ooh. Oh, that's going to feed generations. This has to be leading to this. We have to. If we don't get this next year, I give up. I give up. But I think we get Rhea versus Bianca for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it's here where Rhea finally defeats Bianca Belair to become the new Women's World Heavyweight Champion. But that's just night 1. Next we have night 2. And we're going to start off with a bang. A match of tribal combat. Bloodline rules. For the Ula Fala, we have Jacob Fatu going up against still your tribal chief in Roman Reigns. Now, originally I had Roman Reigns in a title match, but I'm like, we don't need to do that no more. Like, we don't need to do that. I think it's been reported that Roman really wants to make Jacob a next top star. And I've given up on thinking we're ever going to get The Rock versus Roman. So this is the next best thing. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu has a dominant 2025 and now believes he should be at the head of the table, the new tribal chief. But Roman's like, you still got to beat me in order to get acknowledged. And in this match, Jacob Fatu defeats Roman Reigns to become your new tribal chief. And I believe Roman quietly will walk away from professional wrestling, as he's reported in an interview recently that he wants to do something outside of this form of entertainment. And I think this will be the perfect way to go out, since, again, we're probably never going to get that Rock match. So this is the next best thing. Leave putting over your next top star in the company and Jacob Fatu. Next, we have your Women's U.S. Championship match, with your challenger being Jordynne Grace, who just came over from NXT, and she's going to face your reigning, defending Women's U.S. Champion of Proceed with Caution, and Naomi. This is a storied rivalry that has history. Naomi and Jordynne Grace, who had their history at TNA, which it still boggles my mind that we actually can bring up TNA. We can actually talk about TNA and talk about that history, that lineage. It's just someone who just was the TNA fan from like 04 to like 2010. Like, I just still can't believe it. But yeah, we get to tell that story of how Jordynne Grace defeated Naomi for the title. Then Naomi went over to WWE. Then Jordynne Grace came over to WWE, and how Naomi feels Jordynne Grace is just a follower, follows her wherever she goes, but she is not ready for the new Naomi. And Jordynne Grace feels like Naomi's just in the way. She needs to get down and lay down, where Naomi will be defeated by Jordynne Grace and now will bow out, as she recently did an interview as well. I've been watching and reading a lot on what superstars have been doing, in case you haven't noticed. Naomi has publicly recently stated how much she wants to have a life outside of wrestling and have kids and all that good stuff. So I believe this will also be her swan song. Next, we have a battle of the minds. Karrion Kross versus Randall Keith Orton. A story that could be told a year in advance. From Karrion Kross doing that shoot promo following Wrestlemania after Randy Orton faced Joe Hendry at WrestleMania, and Karrion Kross said in an interview he's tired of being a good soldier, a loyal soldier. He never got a match with Randy Orton, but Joe Hendry does. He doesn't understand that. And also, you have Karrion Kross telling Randy Orton, how many times are you just going to allow others to create their own legacy above you? Cody Rhodes, John Cena. Like, what happened to that legend killer, Randy Orton? What happened to that guy? That guy would be at 18 world titles by now, and you're still at 14? And you tell that story that Karrion Kross is trying to see the best Randy Orton. He doesn't want to see an old, washed up Randy Orton. And Randy Orton still has something to prove, that not only he can still go with the current top stars, but he eventually will get to those extra world title wins and tie or even surpass John Cena, his biggest rivalry. So that's the story you tell. Karrion Kross finally gets a match one-on-one at WrestleMania and defeats Randy Orton, as, again, this whole WrestleMania Night 2 is about putting over the next generation. Next, we have, for the United States Championship, your challenger in Xavier Woods, who will go against one-on-one versus Kofi Kingston, your reigning defending U.S. champion. Yes, we finally get Xavier Woods versus Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania one-on-one. And they tell that story starting late 2025, going into the Royal Rumble, where Kofi gets saved by Xavier Woods and gets put back in the ring. But Xavier looks to get saved by Kofi, who gets eliminated. And Kofi, instead of saving Xavier Woods, catches Xavier Woods, then drops him. And Kofi says he's tired of carrying New Day. He's been the heart and soul of New Day. It was always him. He's the one that won the world title at WrestleMania. He's the one that has the most accolades out of all the New Day members. And now he has to look out for self. He's tired of being a team player. Goes on to win the U.S. title. And now you tell the story of a heel Kofi Kingston, which I still think is money, versus a babyface Xavier Woods to finally win a singles world title. Meanwhile, you have your special guest referee for this match at WrestleMania in Big E, who says he's going to call it right down the middle, and Kofi and Xavier Woods tear the house down, leading up to Xavier defeating Kofi and finally getting that singles win. And after all is said and done, Kofi hands Xavier Woods the U.S. title, and Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi all hug in the ring and raise Xavier Woods' hands. And that's how we kind of end the story of New Day. Now, talk about emotional. Next, we have something that's been booked probably every year for the past 3 years, but I'm so serious and feeling like this should be the way. We have a hair versus mask match. You can guess what this is going to be. The leader of the LWO, Dominic Mysterio. Yes, Dominic Mysterio is the new leader of the LWO, as he gets kicked out of the Judgment Day by Finn Balor at some particular point in the summer, and gets saved by Rey Mysterio as Judgment Day tried to take out Dominic Mysterio. So we get Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio forming a bond again as a tag team and as tag team champions. But eventually, Dominic Mysterio will turn on Rey Mysterio, and Rodriguez Raquel will join LWO with Dominic, but not as this romantic thing, but more as big sis, as a big sis looking out for the LWO, looking out for the people, for their heritage. And now we have this blood feud that has been damn near over 4 years, that we finally get a definitive final match, a street fight between Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio, mask versus hair. And it's here where Rey loses to his son finally at WrestleMania. Something that Rey has been able to have over his son is that Dirty Dom has never defeated Ray at WrestleMania, but Dirty Dom is obsessed with beating his father at WrestleMania. It's all that he can think about, all he cares about. But the one thing he needs that can complete him is finally beating his father at WrestleMania, and he does that and retires his father at WrestleMania 42. And in a semi-main event, we have your challenger for the Women's World Championship in A Storm Is Coming, Jade Cargill, who will go one-on-one with your reigning, defending Women's World Champion and the man, Becky Lynch, who is also a Paul Heyman girl, part of the Revolution faction, with, of course, Becky feeling like Jade is not at her level, and Jade is like, well, you're not at my level. You can't even see above my shoulders. How are you on my level? And this is just a match to finally crown Jade Cargill as the next top star in the women's division, as she defeats Becky Lynch for the women's championship, and now is the top dog, the top woman, the top female of the women's division, your next big superstar. And in the main event of Night 2, WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans, we have the challenger, CM Punk. CM Punk, who I originally was going to have win the Royal Rumble, but then I remembered he ain't going to do no Saudi Arabia show, so that ain't going to happen. So somehow he gets taken out of blah, 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 comes back at Elimination Chamber, wins Elimination Chamber to finally pay off this story they've been telling for 3 years of CM Punk keep getting close to facing Cody, but Cody always has the one up and gets to main event WrestleMania, gets the world title wins, get all that good stuff. And CM Punk, who has at one time was best in the world, now has to prove he is still best in the world by defeating and beating Cody Rhodes, who has been the man in the WWE for the past 4 years. He has to defeat Cody Rhodes with everything in his being. The first time he main events Night 2 of WrestleMania, he hasn't held a world title in over 3 years. He needs that world title more than anything. He's going to do whatever it takes. Meanwhile, Cody, who was the one to retire John Cena, finally get that title back by being able to pull the trigger and prove that he will also do whatever it takes to win that title and defend that title, which now we have a compelling story of we don't have a goody two shoes Cody Rhodes, and we have a passionate, determined CM Punk, which will all lead to CM Punk trying to use a chair when the ref is knocked down to get an advantage on Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes already has the one up on CM Punk, as you kind of do the visual of like Triple H, and you do the visual of Triple H and Undertaker in Hell in a Cell at 28, where CM Punk goes for like the chair or tries to put the chair in the ring, but as he does that, Cody Rhodes steps on it. CM Punk looks up and Cody just shakes his head and he just screams at CM Punk, best in the world, and kills CM Punk with chair shots. Crossroads, 1, 2, 3, and still your WWE World Champion, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, who now has kind of gone to the Homelander character, but is still a babyface, still your top babyface in the company, but now has throughout the year evolved his character to where he's not really good, but he's not bad. He's in between, but he does what he has to do to win. Let me know what you think WrestleMania 42 is going to look like in New Orleans next year. Like, comment, subscribe, share all the things. Welcome to the Hive, bitch. There's Hayes Arcade, and if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.